She opened the fridge and found her cat's cooling mat inside. Turns out, because the weather had been so hot lately, her cat had tried to cool the mat down by putting it in the fridge. She quickly told the cat that the fridge was for food, not for random things. But the very next day, the cat put its favorite cat treats in the fridge because once they were chilled, they tasted like ice cream. To her surprise, the cat ended up stuffing all its snacks in there, even its kibble. She found the cat and explained that eating too much cold food would give it diarrhea, but the cat did not believe her at all. To stop it from eating chilled food, she secretly put some slime into the litter box when the cat was not looking. Then she showed it and said, "See? You got diarrhea." The cat got scared and immediately asked her to take all the snacks out of the fridge. She then hid all the treats away. Just when she thought the problem was fixed, she noticed the cat had not been eating lately. Turns out, the cat refused to eat the kibble because it was not cold anymore. So she took the kibble into the kitchen and pretended to stir-fry it. The cat was so touched that it finally started eating again. But the next day, she found the cooking pot packed full of the cat's snacks. Did it want her to stir-fry all of them? Suddenly, she heard noise in the kitchen, and when she checked, she found the ceiling panel had been opened. Worried that a rat might have fallen down again, she called her boyfriend over to take a look. But after checking, he found nothing strange. She was really confused about how the ceiling had opened. Then her cat ran to a corner and called her over. To her surprise, she found a tiny kitten.
Oh my God.
Had it fallen through the ceiling? She thought about asking the property management, but her cat noticed something by the window. It looked like a little makeshift bed the stray kitten had used before, but it had been soaked by the rain. Turns out, this little stray had been abandoned and was starving. It had followed the smell of her stir-fried kibble and somehow found its way inside. The kitten was very well behaved and adorable, so she immediately took it to the vet for a checkup. Luckily, everything was fine. Back home, she gave the stray a quick bath. After the bath, she realized it looked just like her own cat when it was little. Her cat even brought out its favorite saved snacks to share with the new kitten. Seeing how much her cat loved the little stray, she decided to adopt it. Just when she thought the stray had officially become part of the family, she received a message from the kitten's original owner, who regretted abandoning it and wanted to take it back. But the little stray did not seem to want to go home, and her cat kept pawing at her too. What do you think? Should she give the stray kitten back or not? The cats were getting ready to work out. They all gathered around the faucet and kept drinking water. After a few minutes, the last cat finally finished drinking. It turned out that this day was one of the cat's birthdays. The guy planned to make a birthday cake for the cat using freeze-dried treats, but he still needed to prepare them first, so he used the cat treadmill to crush the freeze-dried treats into small pieces. When one cat got tired from running, another cat jumped on and took its place. As the cats kept running, a full tray of chopped treats was ready very quickly, but after all that exercise, one cat was completely worn out. So the guy decided to let the cat take a break and took over by turning the treadmill himself. After working at it for a while, he saw that the last batch of treats was finally finished, but the well-rested cat immediately jumped back on and started running again. With the cake ingredients ready, the only thing left was the cat's gift. The guy mixed different liquids into a basin while the cat sat quietly beside him and watched. He measured the solutions in the right amounts, then poured the mixture into a mold. The cats thought it was something they could drink. After the liquid in the mold hardened, the guy opened it and took out a template with cat shapes carved into it. He cleaned off the extra edges and started painting the template. That was the gift he had prepared. He had recorded the look of every single cat and made a 3-dimensional figurine of them. Now he was coloring each cat on the figurine based on its own special features. As he added the colors, the little cats on the figurine slowly started to look alive, cute, and full of detail. He showed everyone the finished piece, and the cats curiously gathered around to look at it. The guy carefully explained to each cat which one on the figurine was them. Finally, he welcomed the guest of honor and brought out the birthday cake that everyone had worked so hard to prepare. Everyone sang a happy birthday song for the cat. If you have a pet at home too, you can also try making a little figurine for it. This woman discovered a cave out in the wild. It looked really dark inside, and she was worried there might be wild animals hiding in there. She walked over very carefully, but instead she found a huge number of cats. They were all strays that had gone into the cave to get away from the heat. The cave was actually kind of like a man-made underground bomb shelter, and it looked pretty solid, although she had no idea what it had been used for before. After she came back out, she saw so many stray cats hanging around nearby that she started thinking she could turn the place into a living space for them. First, she cleaned all the trash out of the cave. While cleaning, she also found another animal hiding inside to stay safe. She decided to move it somewhere safer. The little frog was very cooperative, and she released it into the closest pond where its friends and lots of small fish were already there to keep it company. Then she went on with the stray cat home renovation. The shelter was very roomy, so she could add all kinds of facilities. She decided to begin with a sleeping area for the cats. The cave floor was cold and damp, and the strays often got sick from lying on it. She first laid pressure-treated wood across the bottom, then built the framework for the cat beds. All the frames were fixed in place with long nails. She planned to make the cat bunk bed 4 tiers high, about 2.5 meters long, and 80 centimeters wide. Each tier could hold around a dozen kittens. She repeated the same steps, and soon the 4-tier bunk bed started taking shape. Next, she cut openings in the wooden plank she'd installed. Those openings became the passageways between the levels. For the connection from the first tier to the second tier, she installed an auxiliary staircase. From the second tier to the third tier, there was a small stair on the inner side. The last stair for the top tier was placed on the outermost side so it would not block the walkway. After everything was finished, the strays quickly figured out how to use the stairs. She also added small guardrails because cats often twitch while sleeping, and she did not want them to roll off. The railings were about 4 inches high, which made the beds much safer. She then put in some scratching pads so the cats could sharpen their claws whenever they wanted. On the third and fourth tiers, she laid down cotton cushions in case it got cold at night. The cats could sleep on the higher levels. As soon as she placed the bed, a stray cat curled up and fell asleep inside. It clearly loved the new bed. After finishing everything, she watched for an hour, and one by one, the strays came back into the shelter to sleep. The next day when she returned to the shelter, she walked in and found many cats still lying on the floor. Maybe they really did not mind the dampness that much, but when she looked at the bed, she saw that most cats preferred the scratching pads and bunks. Almost every scratching pad and bed had a cat resting on it. 2 cats were even squeezing into one cubby, which showed that the cave really did stay cool. Then she planted a few small bamboo plants at the entrance. Bamboo grows fast, and in a few years it would become a little grove. Because the cave had been unused for years, the entrance had been covered with dirt. Now that the cats had moved in, she dug a drainage ditch to stop rainwater from backing up inside during storms. She felt that discovering this cave had been a lucky find. One day, a heavy rainstorm hit, and she worried about the cats in the shelter, so she went to check on them. Luckily, the ditch she had dug earlier came in handy that day, and the entrance stayed pretty dry. The strays were all resting inside. Seeing them so comfortable made her feel relieved.
Good job.
Since rainy weather made it hard for the cats to go out and find food, she brought out prepared cat food and freeze-dried treats, then filled 4 whole bowls. She was sure the cats would not have to worry about food for the next few days.